All right, let's start working on configuring our LiveSectional code to meet the needs of our project. When your Raspberry Pi boots up, hooked up to a monitor, if you pay attention to the text that's going across the screen, at some point near the end, it will tell you what the IP address is of the Raspberry Pi. So you're going to type in SSH space pi at the IP address. In my case, it's 10.0.1.54, and you're going to hit return. It's going to come back and ask you for a password. Remember, the password by default is set up to be LiveSectional. That's all one word, all lowercase. Once you're logged in, you're brought to the command line prompt. If you're doing this process directly on the Pi and you're not secure shelling into the Raspberry Pi from your computer, this is where you'll be. You'll start at this point, just using a keyboard plugged into your Raspberry Pi and a monitor. So if you're not secure shelling in, just start from this part of the video. The first thing we need to do is go in and edit our metar.py file, and this is where we're going to do a lot of the user configuration. So I'm going to type in sudo space nano. Sudo means I need to be a super user to do this. Nano means I want to edit. Nano is an editor in the command line. So nano, and then I'm going to give it to the path to the file that we're going to work on. So sudo space nano space slash capital N E, and then lowercase eo, capital S on sectional, slash, and then we want to edit the file metar.py. Okay, I'm going to hit return, and that pulls up our metar.py file that we need to edit. We've tried to give some directions in here. Everything that starts with a pound sign or a hashtag is just commenting for you to read, or commenting about the code. That doesn't get read by the computer. It just gets displayed in there for you to read. So you need to use your arrow keys to move around in here. So we're going to scroll down here. The first part you want to go to is this LED strip configuration part. Okay, it is important that you put in your LED count. This is the total number of lights in your string. In my test environment, I have 26, so that's what it's currently set to. Change this to however many LEDs total you're going to have in your project. This includes the LEDs that are going to be orphaned behind the board that aren't being used just because of spacing. So the total number of LEDs in your string. All right, and then we're going to keep moving down. Next is the user-defined parts. So you can see it here, user-defined items to be set. All right. So first thing, max wind speed. If you would like the LEDs to flash at the airport if the wind is above a certain value, here's where you set that value. So currently it's set to 13 knots, but you can change it to whatever you're comfortable with. That's basically all you have to set there. Let's scooch down here to update interval. This update interval is how often it goes out to the FAA website and pulls down the current weather. So 15 minutes is what we have it set at. It seems like a pretty reasonable compromise. I did have it set a lot quicker at one point, and I think I got banned by the FAA for about a day. I couldn't get back on to get weather from them from my IP address. So 15 minutes seems pretty safe. The next area is colors of the lights. If you want to change those, you certainly can, but we currently have them set to green for VFR, blue for marginal, red for IFR, magenta for LIFR, dimmed white for no weather, and then black or off if they're in the behind the board and not being used, and then full bright yellow used for the legend. So this is the color that will flash when there's lightning in the area. The next section down here is legend. Do you want to have a legend in your map or not? 1 means yes, 0 means no. So if you don't have a legend incorporated in your map, just change this to 0 and all the legend stuff will go away. Okay? Do you want to have a high winds legend? Yes or no. Do you want to have a lightning legend? Yes or no. Remember, 1 means yes, 0 means no. Now here's where you would set up the LED light numbers for your specific legend. All right. Remember, this is important, that the first light in your string is technically light number 0. So you count from there, 0, then 1, then 2, and then you get to whatever point in the string where your LEDs are used in your map legend, and you write those numbers down, and that's where you put them in here. So my VFR light is light number 19, my marginal VFR light is 20, my IFR is 21, my LIFR is 22, my no weather is 23, my high winds is 24, a little typo in there, and then my lightning pin is 25. The last part that you need to change on here is your high wind blinking, if you want that on, yes or no. And then the dimmed value. This is how dim the LEDs will be when it's dark in the room. So you can change this down even lower if you'd like. And this is the total brightness that it normally stays at when it's not dim in the room. Once you get all these things changed, you're done working on this file. All you'll do is you'll do a Control X on your keyboard, and then you'll hit Y that you want to save it, and then you'll hit return. And that brings you back to your command line. We're done editing the METAR file. The next one we want to edit is our shutoff.py file. So if I hit the up arrow, it just brings back the last line that I did, and so I don't have to type all that back in again. I just delete back to the slash, and then I'll do shutoff.py. This is the configuration for turning the lights off when you shut the Pi down. And really all you have to do is come down here and change your LED count to whatever number of LEDs you have. Once you get that done, just Control X again, and if you've made any changes, it'll ask you if you want to save. You'll hit Y for yes, and then return, and it'll save the file. So what we want to do next is automatically have the script start up and run when the Raspberry Pi is booted up and starts running. So this way, when you get the board to your office or to your FBO or wherever, and you get it plugged in, it'll automatically start pulling the weather information and changing the lights to be the correct colors. Also, when the Raspberry Pi reboots due to a power failure, or we also have it set up to automatically reboot once a day to just make sure the Pi is running nice and smoothly, it'll automatically start running again on its own. To do this, you're going to want to go sudo space nano space /etc/rc .local. So that's sudo space nano space /etc/rc.local. When you hit return, it'll take you into the RC local file. And if you come down here to the bottom, down here where it's got sudo bash neo sectional startup ampersand, you just want to remove that hashtag at the beginning. That will uncomment that out, make this code visible by the Raspberry Pi again, and it'll start running it. So once that's that hashtag has been removed, Control X, Y, return. Now to see if this works, you can do a sudo shutdown -R, which means reboot now. So that's sudo space shutdown space -R space now, and that will restart your Raspberry Pi. And when you do that, it should take about, I don't know, 30 seconds or so for the Raspberry Pi to reboot, and your lights should go right into that rainbow effect and start showing your current weather conditions. One other thing that people have asked about is how to get rid of the rainbow animations every time the Pi refreshes. So every 15 minutes when it goes out and grabs that weather from the FAA, it's going to run that rainbow animations again. And the way you can get rid of that, let's get logged back in here. You can sudo space nano space /neo sectional. Notice that the N and the S are capitalized. Startup.sh, and in there, this sudo python /neo sectional /test pi. That's the rainbow animations. If you don't want that to happen, just put a hashtag in front of it, and it will prevent that from happening during the refresh cycles. And that's all you need to know. If you have any questions, once again, please give me an email, and I can walk you through steps. We can get on the phone, and I can answer questions. Hope this has been helpful for you, and I look forward to seeing your projects. Please email them over to me. I'd love to see what the finished product looks like and add them to our website. Hope you have a great day.